The Rainwalker's Threnody. In the heart of the lush, foreboding forest of Eldermore, obscured by the twisted branches and veiled by the relentless rain, lay the brooding town of Greyhaven. The people of Greyhaven had long been custodians of old traditions and whispered legends born of the ancient earth upon which they lived. Yet, as the first droplets of the perennial rainy season began to fall, a palpable dread settled over the town, far denser than in years past. The rain this year was different. It was relentless, unyielding, as if the sky wept with a purpose. With the torrents came a whispering on the wind, a sinister litany that only ceased when the townsfolk slept. And even then, it invaded their dreams. At the heart of this anomaly was the Order of the Endless Deluge, a cult whose origins intertwined with the roots of Eldermore itself. They worshipped a deity known only as the Rainfather, an entity they believed controlled the very sinews of the storm. With each passing day, they gathered at the edge of the town, near the crumbling ruins of a chapel now overrun by the forest, where twisted sculptures made of roots and human remains stood as grotesque sentinels in the downpour. The Order believed that their god slumbered beneath the earth, and the rain was his beckoning call to the world above. They conducted eldritch rituals to sate his thirst, a thirst not for the water that fell from the heavens, but for the vitality of the living. The townspeople tried to ignore the constant rain and the whispering, focusing on their daily routines. Yet, as the weeks dragged on, the unceasing deluge began to unravel their minds. Hallucinations took hold, a glimpse of a face at a fogged window, shadowy figures standing in the rain, their outlines blurred by the torrential downpour. One by one, the people of Greyhaven began to disappear. First, it was old Ben, the town's hermit, who muttered of seeing his long-dead wife walking in the rain. Then the baker's daughter went missing after claiming the raindrops were actually tiny faces tapping at the windows, beckoning her outside. Panic gripped Greyhaven. Locks clicked shut as night fell, yet the drumming rain became a cacophony that sleep could not keep at bay. When the missing returned, they were changed. Rainwalkers, they were called. They moved with eerie serenity, their eyes lifeless, their skin saturated with water that trickled down their limbs to leave wet trails in their wake. The touch of a rainwalker was cold, paralyzing. Those they touched became like them, empty vessels wandering the deluged streets of Greyhaven, ensnared by the will of the Rainfather. Soon, the only sounds were the incessant rain and the soft, synchronized footsteps of the rainwalkers. As the last of the unchanged hid, whispering prayers to forgotten gods, they saw the Order of the Endless Deluge emerge, cloaked in watery mantles. The cultists chanted in an ancient tongue as they walked among the rainwalkers, unafraid, touching their brows in a gesture of reverence. With the entire town of Greyhaven transformed, the rainwalkers turned in unison, as if guided by an unseen compass, and began their march. They moved toward the next town, each step deliberate, the rain an ever-present shroud that trailed behind them. Above, within the tumultuous embrace of the dark clouds, a presence watched, a hunger that was as boundless as the storm itself. The Rainfather had awakened, his legion of rainwalkers, a harbinger of the deluge to come. Each town, a droplet in the gathering storm that would soon engulf the world. And as the boundary between the heavens and Greyhaven blurred, the rain blurred the line between life and an existence spent roaming the earth as a specter of the Rainfather's endless desire. Whispers in the rain. In the shadowed, forgotten corner of the world was the somber town of Whistler's Hollow, where the skies were perennially gray, and the rain fell in a perpetual drizzle, a fine mist that seemed to carry voices. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about the whispering rain, a phenomenon only a few could perceive, those of the Cloak of Murmurs, a cult cloaked in secrecy and fear. The cult members were indistinguishable from the other Hollowers, save for the hollow look in their eyes, as if they were listening intently to something distant. They were the chosen ones, anointed to decipher the whispers carried by the rain. Commands from the formless deity they worshipped, known only as the Voiced One. The incessant whispers dictated the remaking of Whistler's Hollow, turning the quaint town into a nightmarish landscape of arcane symbols and enigmatic structures that twisted the streets into an unrecognizable labyrinth. The Chosen Ones toiled under the downpour, their movements synchronized with the staccato rhythm of the rain. Those who tried to leave or resist the transformation found their minds unraveling, assaulted by the relentless whispers until madness claimed them. They wandered into the rain, their screams lost amidst the susurrus of voices, until they fell silent, their bodies never found. As the celestial event known as the Night of the Shrouded Moon approached, the preparations reached a frenetic pace. The Chosen Ones began constructing an altar in the town square, an edifice of black stone that drank in the light, crowned with an array of twisted iron and bone reaching skyward like the fingers of a desperate plea. On the eve of the shrouded moon, the townspeople were herded to the square by the Chosen Ones, encircling the ominous altar. The cultists donned masks carved from ancient wood, their surfaces etched with whispering mouths, and began the final ritual. The rain intensified, drumming against the cobblestones with maddening urgency. The cultists' chants rose above the cacophony, a dissonant harmony with the voices in the rain. One by one, they slit the palms of every townsperson, collecting the blood in a silver chalice. As the final drop fell, a sudden hush descended. The rain ceased its relentless assault, and a heavy silence smothered Whistler's Hollow. In the unnatural quiet, a palpable dread spread like a contagion. The townspeople tried to move, to cry out, to escape the grips of the silence, but their bodies were not their own. They stood rigid, their gaze fixed on the sky above, which had turned an abyssal black. Though they saw nothing, they felt the presence of the Voiced One, a crushing force that filled their minds with a void, extinguishing hope, love, will, everything that made them human. The Chosen Ones moved among the statuesque townspeople, their smiles macabre slashes across their faces as the eyes of the hollowers turned one by one to an obsidian hue. The cultists chanted in triumph, for their deity had claimed its congregation, not through sight, but through an omnipresence that bound them in eternal servitude. Whistler's Hollow stood as a testament to the Voiced One's might, a town that seemed alive from afar, but within held only the silent thrall of those who once were. To the outside world, it was a place to be avoided, where the rain could fall in silence, and the whispers could lure the unwary into the fold of the cloak of murmurs. The harvesters of the rains. The Cartwright family had long sought an escape from the hectic pace of city life, dreaming of a tranquil existence that the quaint, rain-drenched town of Graythorn promised. It was a curious place where the sky was a perpetual canvas of bleak grays, and the rain fell endlessly, a delicate veil that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Upon arrival, they were greeted by the amiable townsfolk who shared stories of Graythorn's history and odd customs. The Cartwrights, eager to integrate, participated in local traditions, not realizing that their every step was watched, their fates woven into a tapestry of ancient prophecy. As the days passed, the family noticed strange, living sculptures that dotted the landscape, sinister figures made of gnarled roots and fragments of human anatomy. These eerie statues were venerated by the townspeople and maintained by a secretive group known only as the Rainbringers. Whispers suggested these guardians were the conduits of a dark, primordial force, a force that the cult claimed was the source of Graythorn's never-ending reign. Driven by a chilling curiosity and the unnerving feeling that the town held deeper secrets, the Cartwrights began to investigate. As they delved into Graythorn's archives, they stumbled upon eldritch texts and grotesque drawings depicting rituals of soul harvesting, performed under the guise of rain. Each droplet of rain was a tear of the primordial deity, a vessel for the souls it coveted. The family's inquiries did not go unnoticed. The Rainbringers, robed in weeping garments that seemed to bleed the very rain they worshipped, warned them to cease their prying. But the Cartwrights could not, and would not, ignore the truth. It was on a night when the rain pounded with the ferocity of a beast that the Cartwrights' fate was sealed. They uncovered the final piece of the profane puzzle, their own lineage traced back to an ancient prophecy claiming that new blood would usher in the end of the endless rain. But it was not as saviors. They were the harbingers of the final deluge, the ultimate sacrifice to awaken the slumbering deity. The Rainbringers, with hollow eyes that mirrored the bottomless depths of the rain, descended upon the Cartwrights. They were dragged to the center of the town, where the largest of the sculptures loomed, a monstrous figure that pulsed with an unholy life. The town congregated, chanting in a language that seemed as old as the rain itself, as the Cartwrights were bound before the effigy. The ritual commenced with the slicing of palms, the mixing of rain with blood, as the Rainbringers chanted louder, invoking the primordial deity to accept the final offering. One by one, the Cartwrights were sacrificed, their lifeblood ebbing away into the sodden earth. Their screams, their pleas for mercy, were muted by the cacophony of the heavens weeping. And then, as the last of them was surrendered to the ravenous roots, the rain ceased. An oppressive silence fell upon Greythorn for the first time in centuries. The skies cleared, revealing a pantheon of stars uncaring and distant. The entity, ancient and insatiable, rose from its terrestrial prison, a dark silhouette against the cosmos, its chains of rain shattered. Greythorn was left barren, a husk of a town that once throbbed with life. Houses stood silent, their interiors drowned in shadow. The living sculptures crumbled to dust, their purpose fulfilled. The Rainbringers had vanished, their covenant complete. The end of the rain was the end of Greythorn, and the Cartwrights' legacy was etched into its final, waterlogged chapter. They had become part of the eternal cycle, their souls wandering amidst the celestial void, forever a part of the rain that no longer graced the earth. The primordial force was free, its hunger now boundless as it ascended to the heavens, leaving behind a silence that was more harrowing than any storm.